Hey guys, I'm here to talk about a book called Mississippi Trial, 1955. This book was written by Christopher E. Crowe in 2002. He is a professor of English at Brigham Young University and has published several award-winning books. He currently lives in Provo, Utah. This book takes place in 1995 in Greenwood, Mississippi. At this time in history, segregation was at its height. White people were treated as the superior part of the human race, and African Americans were treated quite cruelly. The main character in this story is Hiram Hilburn, shown on the cover right here. He is one of the main characters of the story, and he grows up in Greenwood, Mississippi with his grandfather. His parents were involved with the war, his dad fighting in World War II, and his mom was working for the war effort. So he stayed with his grandparents in Mississippi. When his grandma died, his parents made him move to Arizona, and after he turned 16, his dad finally let him go back to Greenwood and spend the summer with his grandpa. Another character of this book is Grandpa. Hiram stayed with Grandpa most of his life, and he grew up with the segregation that was involved in his community. Grandpa, though, was really against integration within schools and the community, and always had to be separate of people of the different race. Another character in the book is R.C. Rydell. R.C. and Hiram remain friends throughout the book, but besides Hiram, R.C. really has no respect for anyone else but his sister, Naomi. Naomi is a very quiet and shy girl, but Hiram really likes her, and they are really good friends throughout the book, and they play a good part in the story. The last character I will be talking about is Emmett Till. Emmett is a character based off a real person who was murdered for flirting with a shop owner's wife. This book focuses on Hiram's realization about segregation. In the beginning of the book, when Hiram is 9, he doesn't understand segregation much, and he doesn't understand the importance of keeping both races separate. Now, as the book goes on, and Hiram comes back to Mississippi when he is 16, he starts to realize how bad segregation is, and he starts to find ways to fix it. Now, as the story goes, he wants to stop segregation, so he befriends this kid named Emmett Till. Now, Emmett was originally from Chicago, and he came to visit his family for a while. And he was hanging out with some friends when he flirts with the shop owner's wife. The shop owner didn't like that very much, so he goes over to Emmett's uncle's house, and he kidnaps Emmett and murders him, and then they put his body in the Talakathy River. From that point, that is where the trial starts, and they start persecuting people for his murder, and they try to find out who did it and to see how it justifies. Right now, I am going to read an excerpt from the book. It takes places on page 60 and 61. The sights, the sounds, the smells, everything around me was familiar, and I was home. All that peaceful stuff, though, made me sleepy. I closed my eyes and dozed for several minutes until a sound I thought I had dreamed woke me up. Splashing, thrashing in water, and someone calling for help. I set my pole down and stood up. "Help!" cried a panicked voice from downstream. "Somebody help me!" I jogged along the banks toward the sound. "Help! Hey, somebody!" The voice was garbled, choking. At the next clearing, I saw someone almost in the middle of the river, flailing in the water. He was too far out to reach me with a branch or a stick. That is the part of the book where Hiram actually gets to know Emmett. And as the book progresses, their friendship kind of greatens, but it cuts abruptly when Emmett gets murdered. As I close out this podcast, I have a couple of questions I want you guys to think about.